The very latest figures, published just minutes ago, show that we've now passed the 500,000 mark for vaccinations here in Wales. And I'm sure all of you, would like to commend our NHS and everyone else who was involved in this tremendous effort. So, on to education. Our independent technical advisory group are today publishing their latest evidence so that everyone can see what has guided the Welsh Government's decisions. The group have been very clear that in order to have the headroom for pupils to return to school, there are national indicators that must be heading in the right direction. So, Dr. Jones will now briefly present and explain this data. Dr. Jones.
Thank you, Minister. The Technical Advisory Group has published a new paper today showing the current position of the pandemic in Wales and providing advice about how schools could start to safely open. We're clear that the ability to relax the current restrictions remains limited by the presence of a new variant which is more transmissible than before. However, with the R value currently below 1, there is some headroom for a phased return of primary school children who have a lower risk of infection but who are at risk of harm while not in school. To enable restrictions to be eased in any way, we need to see positive trends in a range of data. I'm pleased to say that case numbers, levels of community transmission and test positivity rates are decreasing, and I'll now just take you through this data. As you can see from this plot of weekly coronavirus case rates in Wales, you can see a steady and consistent fall over the last few weeks. We've fallen back from the peak of 650 cases per 100,000 people to around 127 cases today. In fact, cases are now lower than at previous points when schools were fully open. This is really encouraging, particularly given the presence of the new variant, and is the result of everyone's efforts and sacrifices over the last 7 weeks of restrictions. This is the slide of hospital bed occupancy, showing suspected, confirmed, recovering and total coronavirus cases in our hospitals. Any relaxation of measures should be undertaken in a phased way, looking at the balance of harms and our continuing assessment of the risks, including the pressure on the NHS. As you can see on this slide, while the total number of people in hospital with coronavirus remains substantial, it has stabilised and is starting to fall. We will monitor this carefully alongside our other indicators in assessing the potential impact of any changes before each new phase of more pupils returning. Keeping the reproduction number, the R rate, below 1 is also an important measure in allowing a return to more face-to-face learning. As you can see from this slide, which is based on SAGE estimates, the R rate is currently estimated in Wales to be between 0.7 and 0.9, consistent with falling case rates. It compares well to the position in the summer and is significantly down from the period before Christmas. Before handing back to the Minister, I want to give a quick update on our vaccination progress. On this slide, the Wales vaccination progress, and this is also reported in vaccinations per 100,000 people per week, shows how we have accelerated the rollout of the vaccine programme. And as the Minister has already said, more than 523,000 people, more than 1 in 6 of the population, have had their first dose of the vaccine. This slide clearly shows the speed at which we're vaccinating people in Wales. In the last week, we vaccinated more people as a percentage of our population than any of the other UK nations. And we remain on course to offer vaccinations to everyone in the first 4 priority groups by mid-February.